All right, gentlemen, straight to our third conversation. Nigeria's bold economic reforms are beginning to gain traction as the World Bank has upgraded its growth outlook for the country, projecting a 4.4% expansion in 2026, up from its earlier estimate of 3.7%. The revised forecast puts Africa's largest economy on track for its strongest growth in over a decade. While oil remains an important revenue source, the World Bank noted that the recent expansion has been increasingly driven by finance, information and communication technology, and other service sectors, highlighting a gradual diversification of the economy. However, the Global Bank warns that sustaining this momentum will require addressing structural challenges, particularly weak fiscal discipline and institutional capacity. I mean, for the World Bank to make this kind of prediction, what are the key sectors of the economy that will make this prediction a reality?
Well, when we look at the macro level, for instance, let me give a very simple example that Nigerians will be excited about. During Christmas, the Dangote refinery that has become the major supplier of refined petroleum products to Nigerians, they reduced the pump price to 739 naira per litre.
Yes.
That was the period transporters hike their prices. You can imagine, my son traveled back to school January 4 or 5 to Ife. Between Lagos and Ife, he paid 15,000 naira, about 50% increment in what they have before. These are the Nigerians that are feeling this thing. Yes, the World Bank is giving us this thing, but the macroeconomic level, what are we doing to help the government to contribute on our own way? The president will not come down and begin to go to market to say bring down the price. Go to transporters, bring down the price. Because if Dangote can come down to 739 naira, there's no way it should not have reflected in the economy, because transportation is the key engine driving the economy of the country. Somebody will bring in goods from Sokoto, from Kaduna, from Calabar, from every other thing. So when we can solve this macro level, I think the ordinary man on the street, they will understand that we are saying that there is a growth of 4.4%. It doesn't mean anything to them. So far, they cannot go to the market and get in at that price. So, and on the subnationals, the state governments, they have to do more by implementing programs that will bring money to the macro level, the local government and some other things. If they do this, then the effect of this 4.4% growth, we could even surpass it, because it is coming because the government was consistent about its policies. You know, the Director General of the World Trade Center did say that, Professor Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala said that what Nigeria needed now is we have achieved stability.
World Trade Organization.
We now need growth to sustain it and to grow. If we are able to sustain it and grow out of it, then Nigeria will be a better place. But the macroeconomic, I'm very concerned about the subnational governments. The federal government is trying its own, but the subnational government and some institutions in Nigeria, they have to live up so that the man on the street can understand when we say that there's a growth of 4.4%, they will say that what do you want?
And I don't think the subnationals have an excuse.
They have no excuse.
Because they are getting more.
They are getting more money. They are getting more money.
What are they doing with it?
That is the problem. They should execute programs that will put, like, former governor of Lagos State, Fashola used to say something. Say that if you come to your community or to your area and we build roads and hospitals, we are improving your life, we are increasing the value of your property, and we are making life easier economically for the people. So when governments are implementing programs that will impact positively on the life of the people at the local level, then they will not better understand when the government president comes out and say that there's a growth of 4.4%. Except they do that, the growth will be lost on the ordinary Nigerian on the street. So the subnational government have to please let them loosen up. Let them use the fund that the president has been giving them.
Let it show
in the life of the people. Let them implement programs. You cannot believe that Lagos State, local governments in Lagos State, they have started building houses for people. Something that some state governments in Nigeria cannot do it. So I don't know what they are using. Where are they? You see, we also have to tackle corruption. I think a lot of people have to be in jail. A lot of people in Nigeria have to be in jail in this country for this country to move forward.
I mean, he's talked about the 4.4% growth, but how will this, show on? What does this mean? Looking at this World Bank prediction, what does this mean for the everyday Nigeria?
You know, the thing is, it means a lot, but people in Nigeria, most people might not understand, because if it doesn't change the price of Gary, you understand, it will not mean anything to them. You understand? Because
it's not about what puts food on the table. There are other things.
That's what I'm telling you.
That's basic thing,
but
macro level.
That is the macro level. At the macro, we'll begin to look at the physical reforms, which are being carried out. Like, take for instance, the new tax law now.
Yes,
is major.
People now understand that. They now understand that they don't.
Which, for me, yesterday I know the tax man actually came, and he explained some things. But we still need to break it down further.
To people.
Saying that is the macro tax. So tax law is everywhere. But how does it affect the Agbero that is still collecting 50 naira
from people?
You understand? So that is where they have to come in to begin to sensitize people. Perhaps maybe they will tell the Agbero, don't collect 50 naira, or bus drivers do not collect 50 naira, so that tax goes straight
to the government.
Maybe that is part of the things they need to come and enlighten Nigeria.
I think that we really need to.
Yes, that's
to keep
talking to Nigerians.
They don't understand.
They don't understand a lot of things.
Because they want to say you are not taxing the ordinary Nigeria, you are taxing the profit. The woman who is selling is wose in one place, he will be making small money, but she's not paying tax. She believes she's not paying tax, but she's going to pay tax by the time that Agbero comes and say, you are using this space, you are paying 50 naira. So that 50 naira that she's paying is supposed to be a tax that is supposed to go straight to the government. So those are some of the things they need to break down for people to understand. But now, the government also removes subsidy. You are talking about Dangote. He reduced the fuel price, because I remember then people were saying we are buying fuel for 1,000 something. It's now 700. How come they've not reduced? Going to my village, and somebody called me and said, if I want to enter bus, I'll pay 40,000 for maybe a 15-hour drive. Yes. I don't even want to talk about flights.
Some years ago, that was tickets.
No, come on.
Flight tickets.
Of course. Yeah. I don't want to talk about flying to Akwa Ibom when people are paying $500,000.
Don't worry.
Mike almost got stuck
Lagos Calabar.
As in one way, not that they are
not Lagos Calabar Road.
You understand? Lagos Calabar Road. There you will still see that they will still want to collect money from there. So we will begin to get impact, or people will begin to feel the impact when the ordinary man, begin to see inflation, begin to read those figures and know that, okay, Nigeria's inflation has dropped. Yes. Because I remember when it was 20-something, and now we are talking about 14. And people still don't understand what is the figures. We don't understand, because every month it keeps dropping, and now they're already thinking about, it will be 10% this year. And by the time it's 10%, how is it going to impact on people? So the government has a lot to come and sensitize Nigerians. The World Bank has told us so many things. Yes. Let me tell you, to the ordinary Nigerians, or to those who are always reading paper, to those at the newsstand, when once they see World Bank, they feel that World Bank has come to collect their money. That is it. So the government has a lot to come and explain to Nigerians.
I think this is where the media needs to, up their games. The ministers,
the minister has to be
the ministers
the media
also go to their, their local and explain the policies of the president.
Because it's very, very
key. Very, very key.
For our final story, let's explore potential turning points for the continent. Africa could outpace Asia in economic growth in 2026. The first time in modern history that could happen. But there's a catch. There are reasons for both optimism and caution in terms of Africa surpassing Asia. Let's start with what could make this possibility a reality. Last year, sub-Saharan Africa recorded a growth of 4.1%. This came despite the Sudan war, the Sahel insurgency, and coups in Madagascar and Guinea-Bissau. Despite these challenges, signs of resilience are emerging across the continent. The IMF's outlook has also raised hope. It has predicted a 4.4% growth for the region, as compared to 4.1% for Asia for 2026. And what is driving this growth? First is a weak dollar, which is good for cutting debt service payments and easing inflationary pressure. The second is high commodity prices, especially for gold and copper. Some African countries have also made remarkable strides, starting with Ivory Coast. It has been growing at between 6 and 7% for the past 15 years, as it recovers from civil war and diversifies economically. Other countries performing well are Ethiopia, Ghana, Mauritius, Rwanda and Senegal. According to the IMF, next year at least half of the top 20 fastest growing economies will be in Africa. The continent is also benefiting from a demographic advantage. By 2050, analysts predict that more than 1 in 4 people in the world will be African, and the continent will have a larger working age population than China and India combined. Plus, Africa has the potential to grow faster in percentage terms because many of its economies are weaker, smaller, and still catching up. Even if Africa doesn't surpass Asia's growth rate in 2026, the combination of demographics and different stages of development makes this outcome likely in the years to come. Turning now to Asia, the outlook for 2026 paints a slowdown. The IMF says the driver of this is the decline in Chinese economy, which for decades has propelled Asia's growth. Beijing's economy grew from $150 billion in 1978 to around $20 trillion today. The Chinese economy is currently 7 times the size of Africa's, with roughly the same number of people. But Beijing can no longer manage growth at a breakneck speed. It is because the Chinese workforce is aging and therefore shrinking. Despite the promising figures, Africa has a long way to go to replicate Asian-style transformation. A growth of 4 to 5% is not enough for that. Plus, much of it is driven by population expansion, leaving just 2 to 3% for per capita growth. To replicate Asia's growth, Africa needs sustained growth of at least 7%. The numbers inspire both hope and caution about Africa's growth trajectory. Whether or not it is able to outshine Asian economies depends on the months and years to come.